Welcome to everybody out there in our virtual land in Kern County for the Women's March, Kern County 2021. We apologize for our little tech glitches here, but we are here and we are ready to stand up and speak with empathy, courage, and hope. So stay tuned and enjoy our program. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Natisha.
Thank you, Cam. It's so good. And I see you looking fabulous in your pearls, darling. Well, hello, Kern County. Welcome to the Women's March Kern County 2021 live stream virtual event. I am your host, T. Johnson, and I am proud to be here rocking in my pearls with solidarity and with sisterhood. Today, we have an inspiring and energetic day filled with speakers and poets, analysts, performers, advocates, and more. It's been 5 years since the Women's March first began. This is the 4th year for the Women's March here in Kern County. And today it is about empathy, courage, and hope. As we move forward as a nation, let us guide our hearts and our minds towards coming together as one nation. It's a new day full of possibilities. So, as we listen to today in our homes, or maybe working out at the gym, wherever it may be, just know that better days are here to come, but it will take us all to get there. Let's get this program started. Welcoming to the stage, our virtual stage, she has performed every single year, and she will be performing and opening us up with our welcoming song, which is her original, What's Happening, Miss Crimson Sky.
Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you guys for joining us. I'm so happy to be here on the Women's March stage once again. I wrote this song about a year ago. It was last January, the beginning of 2020, and things were a little crazy, you know. I think we all can relate to that. And I felt like I was just watching so many things go on that I didn't have control of. And I'm just like, what the heck is happening here? You know, so this song is called What's Happening. I've been looking down the road at what lies ahead. I've been looking down the road at what's happening. What's happening? What's happening? I took a walk with Mother Nature, just a stroll. Tried to tell her I don't know why we've come so far and so below. Close my eyes and wait. I had a talk with Mother Nature, no need for words, just a taste of the universe, questioning the human race. Close my eyes and wait. What's happening? Trying to hold my own,
What's happening? I don't know. What's happening? Trying to hold my own. What's happening? I don't know. Nothing I can do but speak my mind. Yesterday was a crime, so now I'll use the voice that's mine. Close my eyes and wait.
Thank you guys so much.
That was absolutely beautiful. You
Thank
set the tone.
It's a
You set
pleasure
the
to share
tone.
with you all.
What's happening? There's a lot happening right now. And so that was beautiful to hear that. That was very beautiful. Thank you, Crimson. Thank you so much. Now, blessing our event today with an invocation is Reverend Nancy Bacon. Nancy is an ordained minister in the United Church of Christ at Interfaith Spiritual Director, a licensed marriage and family therapist, and a certified practitioner of mind-body medicine. She is active with global ministries in Tijuana and Uganda, supporting women, children, and LGBTQ people. Reverend Nancy Bacon.
It's a new day, a new year, a new administration, a new beginning. Each faith tradition has stories about beginnings, creation stories. The Judeo-Christian story begins with these words. In the beginning, when God created the heavens and the earth was a formless void, and darkness covered the face of the deep. A wind from God swept over the face of the waters. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw that the light was good. So the story goes that God continued to create a colorful, diverse world, a big work of love, a universe of stars and planets flung into space, plants and animals and people of all sorts and kinds, reflecting God's diverse creative nature. God adored it and said it was good. Throughout our history, of course, the beauty of God's creation has been marred by humans. We don't appreciate and care for creation or for each other as we should. Sometimes the beauty seems to have slipped back into darkness, void of light and love. These past few years, we've seen a lot of that. It might seem like it's been a very dark, dark time. Today even, we can't march. We gather virtually because of the pandemic. Sickness, death, loss, fear all around us, livelihoods in peril, our heating earth moaning, anger, hatred, violence fester in our nation, and we don't hear God saying this seems so good. But suffering's not new. 1,000 years ago, a millennium ago, right after the dark ages of that time, St. Anselm wrote a prayer that's as relevant today as it was then. He wrote, "We bring before you, O God, the troubles and perils of people and nations, the sighing of prisoners and captives, the sorrows of the bereaved, the necessities of strangers, the helplessness of the weak, the despondency of the weary, and the failing powers of the aged. O God, draw near to each and give us strength. Today, we continue to pray for all who suffer, and we are encouraged to know that a new era of enlightenment emerged from the ashes of that dark time. Things grow in darkness. Dark, rich soil can be the best. 4 years ago, when first we marched, we couldn't see that we would emerge from that trying time with a newly elected female vice president, a woman of color, and that another young poet laureate would be speaking to us at her graduation, inspiring us to continue living into our best visions and ideals, ever emerging, rising up from the soil that we've been given. Today is a new day, a new beginning. If you are comfortable, please join me in prayer. O God of many names, open our hearts and minds, help us face and live fully in our time. Watch over us like a mother hen broods over her chicks. Give us strength and hope and courage to be empathic and recreate the world you dream of, a world where all are seen and respected as your divine sparks. Fill us with light and love so that together we become a raging fire, journeying, marching, gathering one another, uniting our diverse sparks to create what is good. Let us bring the light, let us bring the love, and surprise us with the creation of a new nation. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. We appreciate those inspiring words, that invocation and prayer. For years, 4 years ago, at 5:30 on a cold and wet Saturday morning, Inara joined 140 other people from Kern County for a bus ride to Los Angeles for the inaugural Women's March. She joins us today to lead the flag salute and share a few words about her experiences at the past 3 marches in Kern County. She was the youngest marcher on the Women's March Kern County bus in Los Angeles. Today, Inara is an 8th grader at Downtown Elementary. She is an artist, a coder, an activist for social justice. One of her favorite memories was marching with her mom and other Bakersfield folks at the first Women's March in Los Angeles. She is honored to be presenting the Pledge of Allegiance in honor of her hero, RBG. Welcome, Inara Boone.
Hi, thank you. Okay. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hi, thanks. I'm so happy to be here and I'm so thankful that you guys invited me to speak. I remember I was, let's see, how old was I when I went to my first Women's March?
So you were 8, almost 9.
I was 8 years old. And I just remember waking up at about 6 a.m. and
That, we left at 5.
it was really early. And we woke up and we had a lot of fun, but we had to get up and I'm sorry, I get very nervous speaking. We had gotten up and there were so many people on the bus. And it was one of the most amazing experiences. It was one of my favorite experiences. I don't think I could ever forget that experience, even though I was so young. It was magical because, I mean, there were so many people that we had. Overall, I've loved going to the Women's March. It's so inspirational. I've met so many inspirational people. I've seen so many inspirational things. But with this whole pandemic, it's been really hard. I miss my friends. I wish we could go to the actual Women's March and just so many things. But I'm so thankful that we got to do this online and we still got to get together. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Inara. Aren't you just so adorable? You are a phenomenal young lady leading the way. And I feel absolutely confident that our future is in good hands. So thank you so much for the Pledge of Allegiance, and thank you for just being a social activist for change. Welcome back to our stage for the fourth consecutive year, Sochi. This time, Sochi, they will not forget having a mic for you. So this time you can unmute yourself. Let me tell you a little bit about Sochi. Sochi Garcia is a family law attorney, community leader, and a Kern County native. Sochi is currently the incoming vice president of the Kern County Bar Association and is a founding member of the Immigration Justice Collaborative. Sochi also serves on the board of directors for CSUB's Center for Social Justice, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Business Education Foundation, and Latina Leaders of Kern County. What Sochi is most proud of is her role as an attorney coach for Foothill High School's mock trial team, which she has coached since 2011. Let's welcome Ms. Sochi Garcia.
I want to thank everyone who's joining here today and letting me share this space with you today and letting me share this journey and this mission with you over the last 4 years. When we first came together, we met with injured hearts and we were apprehensive of the days we knew light ahead. Still, we locked arms and we marched. Thousands of us taking to the street in cities across this country. We had courage in our hearts, and we showed the world that our movement towards equality, inclusivity, love, and a more perfect union was alive and strong. Today we meet again, and we know we have a long way to go. But this is a new tide and a new era. For the first time, we have diverse representation that's reflective of our government, of our country at the helm. And during these unprecedented times, when we have to meet virtually, we move together forward with hope. As we move forward with hope, we also do it with courage. And even when we're met with the darkness and hatred that has made its way from the undertow to the surface of this country, we will acknowledge it, we'll stand against it, but we'll also meet it with healing. We'll meet it with empathy. But make no mistake, we will also meet it with strength. I invite you now to join me in the national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you.
Thank you, Sochi. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you for our Star Spangled Banner. All right, you guys at home, we are already geared up our program. We're so excited. Now, we do have a Q&A. If you look down there at the bottom, we have a Q&A. So you will have an opportunity to ask any questions to our panels at the end of our program, which is around 2 o'clock. So we hope that you stick through this. And you know what? It's going to go so fast because there's so much amazing energy that's going to be happening here. And I want to introduce you to someone now. Now, see, DC had Amanda Gorman, but Kern County, Kern County has Annis Cassels. Now, Annis is a poet, writer, life coach, a teacher who splits her time between California and Oregon. In 2019, she published her first poetry collection, You Can't Have It All. Annis is a contributor in the social justice anthology, Enough, Say Their Names, Message from Ground Zero to the World, which features photography and artwork from many Black Lives Matter protests held around the United States last summer. The book was released in October of 2020. So let's hear a little spoken words from Miss Annis Cassels. How we doing there, Annis? The floor is all yours.
Okay. Can you see me?
No, I cannot see you, but I can hear you beautifully.
Okay, let me see if I can get my video back on.
That's all right.
Sorry.
I've been waiting on you, looking forward to hearing. There you go. Beautiful.
All right. Thank
Beautiful.
you.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. This annual gathering of women, men, and families, the opportunity for community solidarity, reminds us that, as Hillary Clinton said, women's rights are human rights. Many of us watch the women who came before us suffer in silence, avoid issues, keep the peace, not ruffle feathers, and keep hoping for the best. But we have found our voices and the courage to stand up and get involved, speak up even in difficult or challenging conversations. And so we speak up and speak out for the rights of all of us to live a life where we all know justice, equality, and peace. A life where we're recognized for our abilities, our character, and the gifts that we offer the world. A life in which none of us is overlooked, put down, or dismissed because of who we love, the color of our skin, the work we do, or where we came from. May we continue to have the courage to use our voices to ensure these rights for ourselves and for those who follow us, and let each of us be the voice and support we need. And now, from our social justice anthology, my first poem, Talking to Justice, Equality, and Peace. Ah, justice, equality, and peace. We should not treat you like goddesses that perch on pedestals out of reach, pristine in your finery. We should know you. We should tow you into every day, ensure you are infused in our lives, seat you at the table in each reach of each calloused hand, each exhausted heart. You need to stride among us. Allow your promised gifts to flood the lands where you've been withheld from the people's grasp. You think we haven't prayed to you from summits and desperate valleys, in churches and on godless street corners, sought and fought for you? We have. Countless generations risked our lives for a measure of your mercy, for a jot of justice, an iota of equality, a pinch of peace. This is your mandate. Present yourselves. And my second poem is Anthem of the People, which was inspired by Congressman John Lewis, who believed and said, together we can redeem the soul of our nation. We, the people, are the beloved community, awakened and walking forward, the winds of peace at our back. We salt the earth with the flavor of justice, cast seeds of hope and love to grow into the staff of life. We are the beloved community, the ones we've been waiting to come to redeem our nation, to change the world. Thank you so much. It's been an honor to be here.
Thank you for those beautiful words, beautiful poems. We appreciate you being here. All right. We are gearing up, you guys. Wonderful presenters, we poets, singers. Didn't Sochi do that, y'all? So that's my girl. That's my girl. She sang that. I think we need to book her for the next inauguration because she did that. She did that. Okay, so next we are going to have a breathing exercise. You know, it's good to meditate, to take things in, to woosah on a Saturday. So we have a breathing exercise and a speech by Candace Freeman. Let me tell you a little bit about Miss Candace. Candace is a mom of 2, working as a behavioral health recovery specialist 3, a professional singer of jazz and soul of 25 plus years, performing in duos, bands, and featured in a number of groups over the years. Candace is a group drumming facilitator and has been a member of the healing arts community of Bakersfield for 9 years, having facilitated and led events such as the Estastics, dance, guided meditations, group drumming, and vision board workshops. Candace has performed at the Bakersfield Jazz Festival twice, Yoshi's and Mr. E's, when she lived in San Francisco, and is a graduate of CSUB, where she studied psychology, music, and theater. Candace has worked in the field of social work for over 25 years, with a focus in mental health for most of those years. She is currently working from home, finding balance with life, work, and fun. We all agree with that. Yoga, music, and her kids are her happiest place. Let's welcome to our virtual stage, Miss Candace Freeman.
Good afternoon. My name is Candace. Thank you so much for that intro, T. I appreciate it. We're actually going to do the breathing exercise a little bit down the line. I was asked to touch on parenting during a pandemic last night, so I just prepared a little bit of something to talk about regarding that, and then we'll go into the breathing and all the other good stuff that I wanted to talk about. Okay. So I'm a divorced mom of 2 kids. I have a 15-year-old son with autism and a 12-year-old girl. Okay, and since the quarantine began, I began working from home 100% of the time. So I've been home this entire time. And my kids have had their world turned sideways like most kids and the rest of us, especially my daughter. Okay, with my son, the challenges were the technical issues. You know, any of us who work from home know all of that, about all of that. And also those people who are in the office, I'm sure everybody's on technology now. But those were his main issues. He would have meltdowns, get frustrated. So you know, I had to come up with a plan and a system to work and for my children to be able to learn at school. And so I can also work while they're doing their work. So it's been very challenging, to say the least, and a journey of learning and adapting. So my stress level increased significantly around the time school started due to an increased workload, due to, the pandemic. That's kind of affected every job sector, I'm pretty sure. And then I also started to notice that my daughter was becoming more and more distanced and sucked into technology because that's all she had to connect with others. Okay, my son, he loves schooling at home. But what he needs to grow and develop is socialization due to his diagnosis and his situation in life. My daughter is at that age where identity is strongly tied to her peer group. I've had some new challenges with her, with all of the technology being the sole form of socialization for her for some months during this pandemic. Got to a point where she was in danger of the pitfalls of technology. And she found her way to social media without my knowledge or permission and put herself at risk. And I discovered some things that made me realize I was going to keep her phone for a few years. So I had to take her phone away. And as a parent, it was hard. You know, I know because she had a whole crew of friends. And while she was at school, she was a little bit of a alpha kid. You know, she's a little leader of her crew. But then she fell into a depression during this time, you know. And I wasn't doing so great either due to my own stress. So for me and my household, self-care has been a priority for all of us. I re-upped my yoga practice from after months of absence, and I started hiking again. We brought my daughter on the path to where a friend and I are social distancing hiking, you know, and we started a labyrinth for a walking meditation. We started that last week, so I'm not going to tell you where it is yet. So my advice for parents would be to who think they're failing their kids, or if they're struggling or depressed, like I did for a time during this whole situation, step back, take a couple of breaths, and know you are not alone. And a little self-care and meaningful quality time go a long way. And please don't be afraid to ask for help, as you know, as once I did. You know, I put a big old blast on Facebook, and my friends at Crimson and others, they stepped up and offered to help, you know, with my daughter, which I figured it was a godsend. You know, it was very, very appreciative. So you never know what angels might pop up in your hour of need. Okay, so that was kind of my little talk on parenting during pandemic. It's not easy, but you know what, we can get by with a lot of help from our friends. Okay. So speaking of deep breaths, I'd like to lead you in a breathing exercise to ground you as I segue into my main topic. Okay, so I'd like you to, wherever you're seated, you could go ahead and put your feet on the ground, you know, or if you're sitting on the floor or a bed, you sit cross-legged, whatever's comfortable for you. Okay, and your palms can be face up or down, but if you want to ground, you can put your palms down. And I'd like to guide you in a breathing exercise of just kind of square breathing, okay, where you would breathe in on a count of 4, hold your breath for a count of 4, and exhale for 4 counts. You can do so at your own pace. We'll just do this briefly, because I know I don't have a whole lot of time. So I'll just kind of guide you in your first breathing exercise, and then you can do so at your own pace. So we will inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we will hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale on 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and as you inhale, I would like you to go ahead and continue with the square breathing. And as you inhale, I'd like you to picture a glorious peak light, filling every part of your body from the top of your head to the soles of your feet. And as you exhale, just release all that doesn't serve you. Okay, so I'd like us to do a couple more rounds on inhaling on 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna hold for 4. And exhaling on 4. So one more time. Inhale for 4. Hold for 4. And exhale for 4. Okay. All right, so right now let's get to the nitty gritty. Okay, so when I was asked to speak for this event this week, so I was like, I had kind of a little bit of time to prepare what I was going to talk about, but I knew exactly what I was going to talk about as soon as I was asked. So I thought, okay, what do we as the people need most right now? What do we need to hear? You know, I know for some, you know, the past 4 years were something to be celebrated. You know, a certain section of society felt emboldened and empowered by the words of our former commander-in-chief. And then there were the rest of us who went through something we had kind of a hard time defining. You know, some were able to call it out right away, you know, as soon as 2016 November happened. And then there were those who kind of knew a familiar feeling, you know.
The feeling of not being heard, the feeling of not being seen, the feeling of being manipulated, the feeling of being gaslit, the feeling of invalidation, the feeling of those around you are lacking in empathy and are not able to see that they cannot see. Okay, so what I'm going to say today is a very abridged version of an experience. So I'm going to go back to 2018 for a brief moment. Okay, so the year started off really, really strong for me. I was practicing yoga almost daily and cycling about 3 or 4 times a week. I was doing really well at work and on the brink of a promotion. I sang at the very first Women's March that year. And like that later that day, I had a really good show. And so, kind of knocked out of the park then. And it was just really, that was my best day. That was my absolute best day of 2018. I was feeling really, really good about myself. I was kicking ass, taking names. I was strong, empowered, determined, advocating for myself and my clients. 2018 was going to be my year. Okay, that was the feeling. That was the vibe. However, I met someone that year, or actually earlier, and on the surface, it looked kind of like a relationship, but it turned into an emotionally abusive situationship. Sometimes that P in ship turns into a T when I'm talking about it or thinking about it in most cases, but I'll try to be mindful of my language. It was about 9 months long, which I find pretty symbolic because it kind of birthed the realization about what was happening to the country and how gaslighting on a national level could potentially groom or possibly groom someone for an abusive situation. Okay, so I have been an advocate, both professionally and both personally for years and years. I'm the helper, I've been the fixer. I worked for the Alliance Against Family for Sexual Assault many moons ago and did community education on domestic violence and sexual assault. I worked for CPS investigating allegations of abuse and neglect, and the majority of my career has been advocating for people who struggle with mental health symptoms and addiction. So if it could happen to me, it could happen to anyone. I was the one who knows, okay, especially on behalf of others. So I just want to talk briefly about the cycle of narcissistic abuse and how you're able to get yourself back after such an ordeal, because for a time you will lose yourself, your true self. Okay, the narcissist will idealize you where you are the best of everything. And the phase associated with this aspect is called love bombing, which might look different based on the type of narcissist you're dealing with.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Candace. Absolutely, I know. What a beautiful testimony, and I know we're wrapping it up right now.
Okay.
And where can they learn more or find out more about you so they can really dive into the in-depth analysis of everything what you're talking about, because it's so important and your testimony is so beautiful. So as we wrap up, can you let us know where we can find you?
Okay, well, I'd like to give some resources. So we have the Alliance Against Family Violence and Sexual Assault Hotline. So if you're in a domestic violence situation, you call 661-327-1091. Or you can possibly, if you have one of the outcomes of these things, it could be depression or anxiety. So you might want to reach out to NAMI, or you can go to kernbhrs.org. You can find the crisis line number, which is 800-991-5272.
Okay.
And also other resources.
Thank you so much. You are such an inspiration, and your testimony touched my heart. You're a mother, you're doing your thing, you're helping us in our mental health capacity. And you guys heard this information. We'll also have it listed in the Q&A, so you can reach out to Candace. What she's doing is a beautiful thing. And during this pandemic and during these challenges, we're all going through something. So thank you for that exercise, girl, too, because I was like, woo, woo, woo. Thank you so much for joining us at today's March.
All right.
All right. All right, you guys. Did everybody get their relaxation in and get that mental health? Is so important. It is so important. So now we're going to move on to our next speaker. 4 years ago, Verda, I love that name, Verda. Verda seemed like somebody you just want to sit down and just drink some tea with, because Verda got all the information for you, okay? So 4 years ago, Verda met the buses going to the march in LA, and she had a pile of hats. Now they call it something else, but I'm gonna call it the P hats, because there's probably kids watching this, and you know I'm a mom. I can't say that word right. So it's P hats, and it stayed busy. She knitted over 1,000 ever since, and I got a couple of them though. She was a speaker on our first stage, and we welcome her back today. She is an alumni of BHS, go Drillers, BC, go Renegades, and Long Beach State. A mother, a grandmother, a great-grandmother, whoa, performer, longtime activist, beginning with campaigns for JFK, civil rights movements, ending the Vietnam War, and equal rights amendments in the 70s. She was one of our featured speakers in the inaugural Women's March Kern County in 2018, and also has crocheted at least 1,000 pink hats since then. Let's welcome the stage to the beautiful Verda Varna.
There you go. Well, thank you very much for that introduction. That was very nice. And I am very pleased to be with you again. And I wrote a few things down because it's very important that we continue to be active. So it is an honor to speak to you. And I've been an activist for a long, long time. And like T said, I started out in campaigning for JFK, and yeah, you can do the math and figure out how old I am. And then I helped stop the Vietnam War because we as citizens rose up and protested. Then went on and helped with it, marched in support of the civil rights and for equal rights. Then on New Year's Day, I was all happy, and it occurred to me, you know, we don't need to have a women's march this year. We could just to celebrate the election of our new president and our vice president, most noticeably a woman and a woman of color. But then January 6th happened. And to paraphrase the third Godfather movie, every time I think I'm out, they drag me back in. So once again, it became apparent that we as citizens have to pay attention to what is being spewed forth from Washington, D.C., and that we can never again be complacent and think, well, it's almost over. We don't have to worry. We do need to worry. We need to keep attention. We do need to have empathy for the opinions of others, but we must stand up and speak up when we know that those opinions are wrong, and in this case, dangerous. As we've seen, time doesn't make things better. Now, my hopes for the future are as follows. I hope that we have the courage to insist that our candidates and their families are better vetted. I no longer want to be embarrassed by their past behavior or naked photos. And I want no more cruel immigration practices or discrimination against women or against people of color. And I want no more voter suppression. Every American vote should count. And no more inadequate health care, because no one should die just because they're poor. And no more ignoring the Emoluments Act clause in the US Constitution, because no one should make personal profit while they're in office. And we should have no more abusing the environment that we're leaving to our kids, and in my case, my grandkids and my great-grandkids. Our new president has told us that we need to forgive and to move forward. We can do that, but we also need to remember that 4-year nightmare we've just been through and learn from it. We must especially remember that our elected officials work for us. We elected them and we can fire them. We must keep telling them what we want and not want. Snail mail, text, phone, email, whatever, but keep talking to them and telling them what we want. We can have empathy and courage and hope for others and from others. But we must have empathy, courage, and hope for ourselves and for our country. And we must do it for ourselves. Well, goodbye. I will see you next year. And watch out for all the broken glass.
Thank you, Ms. Verda. I just adore you. I mean, let me ask you a quick question. Don't mute just yet. I'm going to do something a little bit outside of the program. You know, we stand on your shoulders. We stand on shoulders for women like you've been in the fight for a very long time. You know, if you can just give one word to motivate the next generation, what would that be to continue in the fight?
One word. Keep, it's not one word, but keep after it.
Yes.
Don't believe that things are okay. They're not okay. We thought January was okay. We just had to slide into the inauguration and we saw what happened. We've got to keep paying attention.
Keep paying attention, keep going. Thank you so much. You look beautiful in those pearls, honey. And we're going to keep going and we're going to continue in the fight. And I have a wonderful performance coming right up. And here we go. Let's see who we have coming to the stage next. All righty, let's get going here. You know, feminists have a voice. Sometimes they speak with joy and sometimes they sing with righteous anger. Kelsey Mora. Kelsey is a local Bakersfield musician who teaches vocal and ukulele lessons for Guitar Center. She has been involved in Bakersfield Community Theater and has performed previously for local LGBTQ plus events such as Pride. Kelsey has been an aspiring activist in the community for a while now and hopes to continue to the fight for equality in uncertain times. Let's welcome to the stage a performance by Kelsey Mora.
Hi, the song that I'll be performing for you today is a song I have written. It's called Can I? Can I feel cute just for a second? Wear a dress without you asking the occasion. Can I look into the mirror? Come to terms with what I see here. Can I exist without hearing an opinion? The question is, what do I do? One answer is, it don't concern you. Leave me alone. Don't say a thing. Don't say a syllable. Just go back into hiding. I'm not fighting. I'm just asking. Can I live my life before you die? Can I feel beautiful and wanted for a moment? Can I feel perfect without asking for permission? Can you look into my eyes, separate truth from disguise? Can I paint my skin or feel lightning on my thighs? The question is, what can I do? The answer is, still don't concern you. Leave me alone. Don't say a thing. Don't say a syllable. Just go back in hiding. I'm not fighting. I'm just asking. Can I live my life before you die? Before you die. Oh. Any last words?
Girl, let me tell you, those lyrics, baby, honey. I was listening. I said, did she just say, you leave, you better get out my way? Leave me alone. I don't need to ask your permission to live before you die. I loved it. I really did. That was
You're doing
absolutely.
a killer job as the MC, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I love, you need to get a t-shirt on that. Can I live before you die?
Thank you.
I love it. Thank you so much, so much. I get excited when I hear new things, y'all. I get excited. And that was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Also, if you want to ask questions, you want to know more about even the performer, Kelsey did her thing. We had Crimson singing, we had Anara talking, we had Reverend Nancy Boone and Verda, and so many. We had so many different people come on, and Candace. So use that Q&A down there. I know you see it. And put in your either comments, your suggestions, your questions, or just say, you know what? I see you. You guys are doing fabulous. And thank you for continuing in the fight. I am so excited. Hosting this year, it's a different platform, but it's the same energy. It's the same love. It's the same vibe. Y'all gonna make me get up and go around the block after this is done and get some signs and start marching. Okay. All right. We are going to move forward within our program. Now, this next person who I'm presenting to you, a woman only guilty of being generous. And when I say generous, she gives from the heart. She is an active local activist. She is a huge supporter of the Women's March. Each year she will have that bullhorn, and she will lead the way, and she will encourage and inspire. She is a county native, Shafter High alumna, a woman of faith, wife to Martine, and mother of 3. She is the co-owner of Martine's Meats, Deli, and Catering. And let me tell y'all about that brisk. If you ain't had it, you ain't lived. She is also a longtime AIDS activist and a humanitarian, and a recipient of several community awards. I am so excited to introduce to you Ms. Audrey Chavez.
Hey there. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction, T. I know we're all feeling like this today, and some of us every day, and some of us every now and again, but we've all got to know it and feel it. So anyway, I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited to be part of today's panel of speakers, and I've got a message for all y'all, but just want to let you know we are all every woman, and we have a lot to celebrate always. My name is Audrey Chavez, and my pronouns are she, her, ella, and chingona. And I'm here before you today, and all around me are my ancestors. My mom, Oralia Montoya, her mom, Emiliana Perez, my grandmother, Antonia Gomez, and her mom, Candelaria Reyes, presente. I'm here also with my husband, my descendants, Ruby, Erica, Martin, Christopher, Oralia, Zach, Millie, and Martincititito. Today, as I share my message with you, I will say these words. And when I say these words, I have a response I'd like you to join me with. My words are, we are powerful. And I'd like for you to respond, we are women. Let's do it now. We are powerful. We are women. Kern County's virtual march is a call to continued action, not just action now, but continuing the action that we've done in the past and action into the future. Our theme for this year of 2021, under our newly elected President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, is empathy, courage, and hope. Empathy and hope and courage are something that I believe we can certainly say we all embody. Why, you may ask? Because we are powerful and
we are women.
We are women, that's right. Last year, 2020, we gathered and we marched and we chanted, but we didn't stop there. On that date and every day thereafter, we organized and encouraged people to vote. In doing so, we had meaningful encounters with others. We listened, kept ourselves busy while helping others, connected people to resources, all the while ensuring visibility and dignity first. People were seen, heard, and encouraged. They were empowered, and that helped with finding their own voice. Because what? Because we are powerful and we are women. Empathy is compassion, compassion for others because we are all connected. You see, we are the homeless woman. We are the woman who is addicted to drugs. We are the woman who is seeking elusive health care, the woman who is undocumented, the woman who isn't able to reveal her gender pronouns. We are the woman who is unable to find employment, the woman who is a sex worker. And yes, we are also the woman who responds with kindness to the women in whose eyes she sees reflections of her own self. And her name is empathy. Somehow throughout 2020, in spite of leadership which lacked competence to lead, lacked the ability to even inspire or to even acknowledge that there's nothing more pro-life than acceptance of our creator-given LGBTQ children, and leadership that claims Christianity, but doesn't acknowledge that authentic gospel response and Christian action truly must include loving one another for who we are, as we are, or we are not pro-life, but merely procreation. In 2020, we dug deep within and we asked for the help of our ancestors to find within ourselves the ability to believe that we have and have to use the tools that we have to do good things. We looked alongside and outside and at the upside, and we found other women who inspired us or who led the way. We knew we had to move forward. We had to find real ways to thrive and real people who authentically did wonderful things in spite of the fear of acquiring this new virus spread through casual contact. Sheroism was demonstrated by healthcare workers like Michelle Kurogi, a local family medical physician at Kaiser Permanente. Also, Patty Smith, a local hospice nurse who helps families at home to deal with persons who have COVID and work daily with people who have COVID and need care. Sheroism. Sheroism also by BAP's Bakersfield AIDS Project's outreach workers who run the exchange program every Saturday, rain or shine, they're there now. They assist 130 clients within 2 hours with needle exchange, PPE, and Narcan, which is overdose training and kits to save lives, and free mom hugs who make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to feed our 130 clients, many of whom are homeless. The BAP outreach team is 100% all volunteer, pre-COVID and during COVID. We are masked, distanced, and dedicated. Thank you to my volunteers and those in our community. Sheroism are teachers like my daughter, who is distance teaching and crisis counseling for kids who are dealing with high school pressures and family life issues, which make teachable moments too real, and whose households are already dealing with their own COVID outbreaks, while also trying to keep her own toddlers safe, cared for, and healthy. Teachers like my daughter Ruby, teachers like Chris Cruzboom. Special education staff like my other daughter, who's dealing with youth with special needs who are distance learning and who are weeks or days from becoming homeless. We are dealing with a lot of unique issues during this pandemic. We do so with the knowledge that we know that we are powerful. And why? Because we are women. We are powerful. Why?
We are women.
Courage is sheroism, an example of strength and bravery in the face of pain or grief. I think in the dictionary, if we looked it up, it would probably say Dolores Huerta, porque she se puede. So here we are today, 2021. And in watching the inauguration and hearing President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, as well as seeing past presidents Bush, Clinton, and Obama speak, we felt hope, and even more so when we heard Amanda Gorman, our nation's poet laureate, sharing "The Hill We Climb." My goodness, our hope runneth over and over and over again. Why? Because we are powerful and we are women. You see, we must move forward, adelante, for we can say that even as we grieved, we grew. Even as we hurt, we hoped. Even as we tired, we tried. Why? Because we are powerful and we are women. Hope is the confident expectation to envision a better future and having the motivation to take the steps to make it happen. Once again, let's say it. We are powerful. We are women. My name is Audrey Chavez. My pronouns are she, her, ella, and chingona. And I'm here before you, surrounded by our ancestors and our descendants. We are powerful. We are women. She se puede. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. And this effort very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth and in this faith we trust. For while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. Her story is created by us. God bless you all, and thank you for allowing me to share my message and to join in this virtual march alongside of each and every one of you. Thank you, and God bless you.
No, Audrey, come back. Come back. I can't even formulate the words right now. You know, because we are powerful and we are women.
Yes.
Thank you for that message. That important part that we are powerful and we can move all mountains and we can change all things. And like Amanda said, in the hill that we climb. Thank you. Thank you so much, Audrey. I'm sitting here going, I need you to continue. I need you to continue. But I know you're saying I need everyone to continue in this fight.
All of us together. Yes.
All of us
all
together. Of us. All of us together, men, women, black, white, all of us together. It will take all of us.
Yes.
And so we are all powerful. But let me tell you about us women.
Baby.
Yes. We are the grounds in which you stand on. Okay. Thank you, Audrey.
Thank you.
I love your heart, your love for the community, your tenacity. I love everything about you, my sister, and I'm proud to call you my sister. And so let's continue, and thank you for leading the way, because I am powerful. And honey, I am a woman.
Yes, you are. Absolutely.
Now I'm mad at you because I'm not on your backdrop. So my picture should have been up there. So
I get you're up there somewhere. I'm sure you are. I know you were emceeing and making it beautiful for all of us. So.
I see the beautiful Dolores back there. I love her soul. I wish I could just hug her. I wish we were in an environment to hug. She's such a loving soul. But thank you, and so do you and your family.
Thank
so
you.
We are
this
powerful.
Is all from Ruby. Ruby put all this together, and I want to thank her and appreciate just all the gifts, because again, it's together that we do some really great things. I love you too.
Thank you. Mwah. Love you, love you, love you, love you. They gonna make me move forward, so I got to move on. But Audrey, I love you to the moon and back. Thank you for being here. All right. Okay. Woo! Won't she do it? She did that now. Now, new to the Women's March Kern County stage, our virtual stage, was in my office right now, with a story to inspire and challenge every one of us. We have Ms. Danae Patrice Harris. Danae is a novelist, publisher, short story writer, blogger, speaker, and vice president of the Writers of Kern. She was raised in Gary, Indiana, where she learned how to work hard and stand up for herself. She published 7 books, with 2 more to be released later this year. As a Black bisexual woman studying to be a Buddhist, she gives a unique perspective on love, hope, courage, empathy, and coming together as a community. Let's welcome to our virtual stage, Ms. Danae Patrice Harris.
Thank you so much for that introduction. I am so happy to be here with you guys today. Last year, I did the unthinkable. Well, the unthinkable for me. I sat down with a Trump supporter. She asked me to meet. I was skeptical. You see, the hate in my heart for the former president's supporters was intense. Even though I have been studying Buddhism for the past 2.5 years, learning about compassion, empathy, and community, I lumped all of his supporters into the same category, and I didn't want to meet. After sleeping on the invite, I changed my mind. We met at a park. She brought me tea. It was a pleasant exchange where I told my story and she told hers. That was difficult for me because for the past 8 years and maybe even 12, we have been on the road to polarization in this nation. Instead of a community that would come together under the banner of hope, change, compassion, and unity, there under the surface, an ugliness was brewing. The last 4 years, the hideousness of white supremacy, homophobia, transphobia were brought to light and made to feel justified and empowered by a former president that gave them a platform and a voice. He knew that there was power in dividing us. The Buddha said in his utter wisdom, "In separateness lies the world's great misery." And we know we have been pretty miserable for the last 4 years. But as the Buddha taught about suffering, he also discussed empathy, compassion, and community. We are all one. We are one nation. Mother Teresa taught, if we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. Every year since 2017, I have attended the Women's March. From LA to back home here to Kern County, I have stood with thousands of women and men vowing not to let hate and division run this country and destroy our democracy. Now, I know what you're thinking. Not even the Buddha himself can change the minds and hearts of those that have been radicalized by the former administration. But we must always keep in mind that no matter how hateful and angry they may seem, they belong to us. They are ours. We must show compassion and empathy because we all suffer, and their outward hate is a product of the disdain they may feel inside, not for us, but for themselves. We preach to them that a community or a nation that excludes even one of its members is no nation, no community at all. We must practice what we preach and let us all heal. Dividing us made us weaker as a country. But as the Buddha said, in compassion lies the world's true strength. We have no choice but to come together. The strength I saw at the women's marches and in the past election has given me hope. Hope that we can heal as a nation. Peace, compassion, and community are within us, but we have work to do. This will not fix itself. We must put in the work of reaching out and listening to those that we fundamentally disagree with. It will be hard, it will be painful, and it will be very, very difficult. But as Marianne Williamson said, in every community, there is work to be done. In every nation, there are wounds to heal. And in every heart, there is the power to do it. Thank you.
Absolutely beautiful. It was a pleasure having you on the stage for the very first time with that beautiful smile of yours and those spoken words that definitely hit home. Thank you, Danae.
Thank you so much.
All right. We're going to also move forward to another newbie to the WMCKC stage is Olivia Garrison. Let me tell you a little bit about Olivia. Olivia is a history and an avid high school teacher, LGBTQIA plus rights activist, and a big old gay, honey. It says it right here so I can say it, y'all. For the last several years, they have served as Pride Club advisor and LGBTQIA plus curriculum developer in Kern County. Olivia is also an organizer and creator of the Oleander Pride event in the historic Oleander neighborhood of Bakersfield. One of Olivia's primary goals as an educator is to facilitate the creation and the implementation of LGBTQIA plus inclusive curriculum throughout Kern County and California. Let's welcome to the stage, Olivia Garrison.
Hi, I wanted to first acknowledge today that I'm standing on Indigenous Yokits land. As you already heard, my name is Olivia Garrison and my pronouns are she, her, or they, them. I work with LGBTQIA youth as a teacher, a curriculum developer, and a Pride Club advisor. I don't have to tell you that this year has been hard on everyone, but it's been especially hard for LGBTQIA youth. According to the Trevor Project, COVID-19 has had serious implications for the mental health of LGBTQ youth. Queer and trans kids have faced a bombardment of hardships, ranging from sheltering in place in homophobic and transphobic homes to the systematic rollback of LGBTQ plus student protections under the Trump administration, and even senseless hate crimes committed against trans youth like Christian Rouse in our own community. Students in my club were even forbidden by their parents to attend meetings. Some are forced to tackle homelessness head on, and many face extreme levels of bullying from their families and peers. These are only some of the harsh realities that queer youth face in Kern County and in communities across America. Despite all of this, if you came to my Pride Club, you would find a rambunctious and fiercely loyal, indescribably loving group of kids who will stop at nothing to put a smile on your face. The harsh realities of being a member of our community are not lost on them. These teenagers chat on a near constant basis, providing each other the support and love that so many of them lack from their own families. They spend our time together reminding each other that it gets better, that they don't have to go through this alone, and they plan future events to help educate their peers. They wrote letters of support to Christian Rouse, and they consistently reminded me of the importance of hope. If I could describe them in one word, it would be resilient. As an advocate for my community, well-meaning people have reached out to me and asked me how they can be a better ally to trans and queer youth in our community. The research is very clear on this. Show up and listen carefully. Silently supporting queer rights is not enough. A recent Trevor Project study shows that the presence of just one accepting adult can reduce the risk of suicide for LGBTQ plus youth by 40%. It is our responsibility to protect LGBTQIA plus youth from those that wish them harm. It is our responsibility to take the time to educate ourselves on issues that this community faces and how racism compounds those issues. It is our responsibility to use the resources that we have available to us to ensure that LGBTQIA youth hear this loud and clear. You deserve to live a life that is as authentic as possible. You are loved. We will protect you. Your community is strong and resilient, fierce and diverse, and you belong here. Black trans lives matter. Thank you so much for your time. It was wonderful being invited to the Women's March. And I just wanted to say too how right now, you know, there are women watching this, there are men watching this, there are non-binary people watching this. And it means a lot to have people right now who are sharing their pronouns and who are speaking out and stepping up for queer youth in our community. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Olivia. Thank you for the education, keeping our youth inspired and protected. Christian is my nephew. Well, my little cousin. I said my little nephew, my little cousin, and I do understand the fight. And so, thank you for just protecting and educating and pushing what's in your heart. We appreciate you on this stage today. All right, we are going to move forward here. Performing an original song, timely for what we've all been experiencing as women and as a nation, is Amber Navran. Amber is a Los Angeles-based singer, producer, and woodwind player. She is a member of the neo-soul trio Moonchild. With Moonchild, she has 4 albums and tours worldwide, opening for acts like Jill Scott, Stevie Wonder, The Internet, and Kamisa Washington. I'm learning here, y'all. She has 2 solo projects out as a producer and guests frequently on other people's projects, including Rhapsody, Ninth Wonder, R+R=Now, Chris Dave, and Daniel Crawford. Amber uses her platform as a performer to bring attention to societal injustice and solutions. Welcome to the stage, Amber Navran.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. My name is Amber and my pronouns are she, her. Before I sing, I just want to offer a quick and loving reminder to the white people on this live stream that anti-racism is an everyday practice and it's also a monetary practice. So on top of getting connected to our local organizations that are fighting against systemic racism and signing up for their mailing lists and daily action lists and, showing up physically, we need to be showing up financially too. And 2 of the ways that we can do that are by signing up to make monthly donations so these organizations can continue their important work, and by being intentional about where we shop and spend our money by supporting Black-owned businesses and POC-owned businesses. A big part of our privilege is monetary, so it's our responsibility to spend that privilege this way. In my personal experience, money is often left out of conversations about fighting white supremacy and just conversations in general. So I just wanted to put it out there in case anyone hadn't considered that side of their anti-racist practice. And if you are already making monthly donations, just remember that as you grow financially and professionally, your responsibility grows with you. So thank you guys so much for having me. It's truly an honor to be here among so many incredible and inspiring women. I'm going to play an original song that's about betting on your dreams and believing in yourself. So thank you. There's coffee in the coffee maker. You always got so much shit to do. Still paralyzed by expectations. A dream's supposed to get you through. I put my money on you. My every penny on you. Yeah. I put my money on you. It's about time you did the same thing too. Who told you that you feel rich? me. Thank you guys so much.
Amber, that was so beautiful and so. You know what? I heard the Jill Scott. I heard Jill Scott in there, and a little Stevie Wonder. Now Jill Scott, that's the woman right there. Now,
Yes.
beautiful, beautiful. So you
Thank
toured
you.
with them along with some other groups.
Yeah, very, very
I love
productive.
your vibe. You just had me chilling, just kind of like, ah.
Thank you so much.
I can't sing, honey, but I can hum a song to death. I can
love it.
choke it to death.
I love it. And you're an amazing MC. So
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you. I
Thank you so
really,
much.
really enjoyed you. So
Thank you.
where can they find you?
Oh, this is Moonchild. On socials and website, everything is just This is Moonchild. So
All right, I'm headed to my Instagram and I'm gonna
thank you
make sure I
guys.
add you. Thank you, sweetie. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, here we go. We are moving forward. That was the first time as Amber graced our stage. Moonchild is where you can find her. And I was zoned out for a minute. I just needed my incense burning in the background, honey. And that would have been the end of me. They would have been looking like T done left the conference. T done left the march. All right, we are going to move on. We're gonna hear some facts, some speaking facts by a professor here. Ivy, let me see, Cargyle. Professor, please kill me later. I probably got a C in English and didn't get it correct. But Ivy is an assistant professor of political science at California State University, Bakersfield. Her research focuses on the politics of race and ethnicity in the United States context. Specifically, she does research on the intersection of gender and race ethnicity and its effects on the behavior of political elites and of voters. She analyzes how Latina political actors and other women politicians of color influence policy outcomes and represents their constituents. Let's welcome to the stage Professor Ivy Cargyle.
Thank you so much. You got it right. Thanks.
Yes! I was struggling. So welcome, Professor.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me. This is my first time here, and what an honor it is to be amongst so many amazing activists and so many amazing individuals who do such great work. As T has said, my name is Ivy Cargyle and my pronouns are she, her, and ella. And so I just have a little bit to share with you all today. So according to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, the definition for resist is to exert oneself so as to counteract or defeat. In January of 2017, the horizon appeared dark and many of us felt despair and palpable fear. We were bracing ourselves for what the next 4 years were going to bring us and the nation. We could not anticipate all of the disasters or all of the challenges that would be facing all of us, but we understood times were definitely different and not necessarily in a good way. In an effort to help us all cope with the cloud of sexism, racism, homophobia, and misogyny that hung over us, the Women's March was organized. It provided a sense of sisterhood, a sense of camaraderie needed in order to resist the negativity, resist the despair, and thus figure out strategies for getting us through and making things better. Today, we breathe a little easier, despite the fact that 2.5 weeks ago, we witnessed an insurrection that pummeled our democracy and left it on life support. As Congress sat in their respective chambers doing the work needed to certify the 2020 presidential election, people outside of the building were storming it and calling out the names of members of Congress who they wanted to kidnap and maybe even murder. Many of us were glued to our television sets and phones, trying to get a clearer understanding of what the outcome was going to be. To some degree, we are still waiting on what that outcome will be, given all of the arrests and trials and upcoming trials, that are going to be held for those responsible for storming the Capitol. Funny thing is that many have been wondering how this could all happen, while others of us are thinking, yep, looks about right. For those of us in the latter group, we've understood that political violence has been fomenting in this country for years now. A part of what was also on display that first Wednesday in January was the way in which political violence is highly intertwined with misogyny. We have pictures of Richard Big O Barnett sitting at Speaker Pelosi's desk, and we have on record, based on his own accounts, the lewd act he engaged in right before leaving her office. According to Dr. Mona Lee Crook, author of Violence Against Women in Politics. The image of his feet up on her desk, along with the vandalism done in her office and the calls to assassinate her are clear attempts to intimidate her and even delegitimize her. At the insurrection, not only did we see a clear attack on our democracy, but we also saw both men and women who were seeking to violently restore a retrograde world where men, particularly white men, hold all the power. Thankfully, that is not a world many of us are ready to go back to, as evidenced by the outcome of the 2018 and 2020 elections, where a record-breaking number of women were elected to Congress and as well as other levels of government. According to the Center for American Women in Politics, there's a record-breaking 141 women in Congress today. 94 women hold statewide offices across the United States, including governorships. And while we are nowhere near where we should be, given that women are 51% of the US population, we are taking baby steps towards parity. Over the past 4 years, we have seen women resisting and pushing back against the patriarchy and against traditional gender roles. The annual women's marches that occur across the country are exciting and fun, but more importantly, they are helpful reminders of all that women have accomplished, but also how much more work needs to be done. We all leave these marches motivated to go back to our daily lives and do what we can to change the world and to change in our little, to affect change in our little corners of the world. As we look to the future, we will hopefully see an evolving society with more women and more Black and Indigenous women and women of color in more positions of leadership and working to continue enacting the needed change that will strengthen not only our resolves to be better citizens who hold our elected officials accountable, but change that will also ensure that our democracy does not fall victim to possible extinction because of blatant lies. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Okay, I heard that. Yes, and you're so young and beautiful, and do that thing, my sister. It was beautiful. Thank you for your words. Thank you for sharing the information and educating us correctly. So you, Professor Ivy, now, because you know I just keep jacking up that last name. So Professor Ivy, thank you. Thank you. And I can't wait until COVID lifts itself so we can just sit down and have a cup of coffee together. All right, we are moving forward in our program. Oh, let me tell y'all. Okay, first we're gonna have to stretch for this one now. Because I have an Apple Watch and I gotta get my steps in today. So I want everybody just kind of roll the heads, run in place if you have to. I can't really stand up because I got shorts on. I was trying to be Zoom cute. You know Zoom cute, where you only get it together from the top up, from the waist up. But I'm gonna stretch a little bit because this next person here, let me tell you, phenomenal. And you're gonna want to hear everything that she has to say. I call her my sister. I love her. I can send a message to her and ask anything, and she has never said no. That's the best part. She is wonderful. But one thing I really, truly love about her is that her love for everyone breaks every barrier that you can think of. It doesn't matter if they're white, Black, yellow, pink, and blue. She walks in a room and everybody gets the same type of love, and I love her energy. And her name is Raji Bra, honey. Raji K Bra. What's that K for? Is it Keisha, girl?
Girl, it's
it
core.
Keisha?
It's core.
It's core.
Every Sikh woman has that middle name. It means princess.
Oh, see, you're always educating me. I did not know that. Let me tell them a little bit about how special you are. You know, and I bet you she got some red bottom shoes on too as she's sitting here doing the Zoom. So Raji is an entrepreneur, a co-founder of the Bakersfield Sikh Women's Association. She was a 3-time appointee as a director to the 15th. I'm reading it like I don't know. She was on the fair board, y'all. She was on the fair board. She is partnering with community hospitals to provide free screenings and bilingual Punjabi and English resources to provide help to those in crisis and high school scholarships. So I didn't even give you all of her community pedigree, her bio. It's extensive. And Raji, you already know my love for you goes far. So I am so excited for you today and just delivering the word to us.
All righty. All right, well, thank you so much, T. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so grateful to be here with you today in this glorious space that celebrates women. Thank you to Julie, Crimson, Audrey, and Kimberly for having the courage and conviction to continue with the Women's March so we can all be here today to share what's in our heart. I know we've all had a very trying and difficult year. We have feared for the health and well-being of our loved ones. We have feared for the economic stability of our homes. We have feared for the emotional and mental state of our children. We have feared for our nation as neighbor turned against neighbor. We have feared for our democracy as we saw it attacked by hate. However, in this new inaugural year, we will fear no more. We'll move forward with courage, empathy, and hope, for a new dawn has arrived. For the first time in our nation's history, we have a woman vice president. For the first time in our nation's history, we have a Black woman vice president. For the first time in our nation's history, we have an Indian woman vice president. For the first time in our nation's history, we have a second gentleman. For the first time in 4 years, we have a president who speaks with compassion about courage, empathy, and hope, and most importantly, about unity. And then, as if on cue, the heavens parted and an angel appeared, wearing bright yellow, looking as if the sun had kissed her herself. Amanda Gorman spoke hope into all of our hearts. We sat still and mesmerized, aware that what we were witnessing was a star being born, as if anointed by God himself. We sat basking in the warmth of her words that enveloped us like sunbeams. We became anew, dizzyingly drunk with her dialect of hope. A skinny Black girl who descended from slaves was not only reciting to a president, she was also reciting to all of us. We must choose to heed her words. We must choose hope. We must choose to have courage in the face of uncertainty. We must choose to have empathy for others. We must choose to put our arms out and bring our neighbors together in unity. We must choose to continue to advocate for women's rights. We must choose to build upon the work of the women who came before us, and more importantly, the women who will come behind us. You see, the Women's March was birthed out of rebuke to the patriarchy and the misogyny that permeated the White House. 4 years later, we have put a woman in that same exact White House. March on, ladies, march on. Thank you.
All right now, Raji, you said what I've been wanting to say. And you just said it unapologetically. And I love that. Thank you. We are being represented. We are being represented.
Thank you for everything. And thank you for all the ladies today. You guys are just so amazing. And we're going to continue to march on. We have no option.
Yes, we are going to march on. There's no option. There's no turning back. This is it.
There is.
Thank you, Raji, so much for your inspiring words, lifting us up and just charging us to move forward without looking back. Thank you. All right. Wow. Woo. She said that. We have a wonderful performance coming back to the stage. A wonderful performance and a speech by Crimson Sky. She has original song, Long Time Coming. Let me tell you a little bit about Crimson. Crimson is a singer, songwriter, realtor, and tennis coach. She has used her music to bring peace to the community since 2015, playing over 300 live shows and releasing 4 albums. Crimson is extremely passionate about mental health and has recently returned to college to pursue a psychology degree. Crimson has been a key performer at the Women's March Kern County since 2018. In 2020, she performed at multiple Bernie Sanders campaign events, including the rally that took place during the summer when Sanders came to Bakersfield. She has also performed at the Bakersfield Pride event for the last 3 years. As a biracial and sexually fluid female, Crimson strives to use her voice to help heal the world and make a positive difference in the lives of those who encountered her and or her music. Let's welcome back to the stage, Crimson Sky.
Thank you so much, T. I appreciate you being here and your wonderful intro, and just this whole event has been so special already. Thank you to everyone that's been here to speak and to listen. This is what it's all about, you know, just coming together to speak and be heard and talk about equality and peace and moving forward and making some progress, you know. And I feel like You know, like my song Long Time Coming that I'm going to sing here, things have never been quite right since the very beginning. And perhaps they never will be perfect, you know, but the further away from divisiveness that we can get, the better. And we've needed a positive change for so long since the beginning. And just only 100 years ago, it was still illegal for women to vote. And it's just so hard for me to accept that there has ever been all that sort of discrimination. You know, I don't know why things were that way. And 100 years ago, in the scheme of things, it's like yesterday, you know, and there's been countless laws that make certain people superior and others inferior. And I just want to move away from that, you know. And after these last 4 years and after the pandemonium of 2020, I feel like long time coming is the general feeling that I have towards so many different things. But it's not just the pandemonium that has been a long time coming. It's not just the riots that has been a long time coming. It's also the peace and the growth and the progress that has been a long time coming. So all these positive changes that we've seen in the elections of 2018 and 2020, it's been a long time coming, you know, and these women marches that are happening now, and Women in Power, and a female vice president, it's been a long time coming. So with that, here is my song.
I've been crying at the news. I know that it's coming. Been warned a time or two. Been a long time coming. Long time coming. I've been howling at the moon. I know that it's coming. Been warned a time or two. Been a long time coming. Long time coming. Such a long time that it's been this way all along. Needed change. Change. Please, Lord. Please, Lord. Such a long time that I've felt this way. I don't wanna cry, but it's such a shame. Shame. Please, Lord. Lord, please, Lord. Please, Lord. Lord, please, I'm on my knees. Oh, so long. Oh, so long. I It's been a long time coming.
Woo! That was beautiful. That was beautiful. I was like, I wanted to get you and Amber together while I burn my incense. And I was in my head, like I was, ooh, you know, I was like, man, just talent, just pure talent. I want to just take this moment before you clock out here, Crimson, is to say thank you. A lot of people don't know that you've been behind the scenes along with Kimberly and Julie and Rebecca. And so you have been pushing the agenda, organizing, facilitating, getting information out, and your drive and love for the community shows. And the community loves you.
Well, it's such an honor, you know, to be able to just make a difference. I'm so happy to be able to actually coordinate from the beginning. The first time I played at the Women's March in 2018, I still remember that feeling, like when I stepped up on that stage and looked out and it was like, oh my gosh, there are so many people here to stand up for equality. And that's like, I mean, what else would I want to do in my life? You know?
Absolutely. And your music is so inspirational, so inspiring and very contagious. I remember meeting you many years ago at First Friday, and I was listening. I go, who is playing? Who's playing? God, it was acoustic. And I was like, I went over there and I bought your CD and I put it in my car. That's when, you know, cars had CDs. Oh, is cars still have CDs? Yeah, they do. And I would just play it. And it was just, you know, I was meditating on it, and you're very inspiring, and we love you. And thank you for always uplifting everyone around you.
For being receptive. I can seriously not thank you enough, truly. And that's the meditation of it is, I feel that every time I'm writing a song and playing, and I'm sure you guys could feel that I'm here in the moment, you know, and I'm getting something out of it as well. And that's what music is for. And that's what coming together is for, so that we can actually, you know, feel some sort of like relief. You know, that's what it's all about. So thank you guys. Thank you, T.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
And
woo!
I want to mention too, who's coming next.
I know, I found the secret too. Let's just throw her on here. I want you to stay really quickly because I want to introduce to you guys. This individual is not only just fired up to tell us, you know, things about how we're going to change and just coming from an educational point of view. She's a retired educator. She's a co-founder of COESI, which is a Kern welcoming and extending solidarity to immigrants, and looking forward to formulating plans through post-demic, just the whole thing. She's amazing, but she's also Crimson's 6th grade teacher. Am I correct?
Yes. So it's, I mean, things come full circle, you know, and it's such a small world, especially here in Bakersfield. But Linda Haggerty made a huge difference in my life. And that just goes to show you how you never know who's going to come into your life and how it may impact them years later. And that's really what it's all about, is just how you affect others. And Linda, I always, you know, she was always Haggerty to me, but she just always was so supportive and just pushed you to be the best that you could be. And at first that was a little bit hard for me. You know, it's always a little bit hard when someone's like nudging you a little bit, like, you know, come on, but that's what we need in life. And that shows you that they see something in you, you know? And so that sort of encouragement and support has definitely stuck with me and inspired to be that way towards others. So I'm so happy to have Linda here and to introduce
Yes, thank you, Miss Haggerty. We need more of you. I remember my 6th grade teacher, and they probably weren't like you. So, with that being said, you have the floor, and thank you for inspiring such a beautiful person.
Well, thank you very much. You know, I'm very proud. And very, very honored to have taught Crimmy. We call her Crimmy. I learned that from her grandmother. And so I do want to say Crimmy's been like, oh my God, she's wonderful, just wonderful. And also she plays a mean game of ping pong. She beat me, she beat everybody. I just love her. So as you know, my name is Linda Haggerty and I go by she and her. And so I just wanted to come today to share with you that, you know, I was inspired to speak to you today because of the January 6th attack on our democracy, followed by the vote, by that vote objecting to the Electoral College results by Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, and 147 members of Congress, including our very own Kevin McCarthy. I am outraged. Make no mistake, that attack on our democracy was active white supremacy, pure, plain, and simple. Now, I am committed. I am so committed now to not being complacent. I have decided to become more involved with our very own Women's March here in Bakersfield this year and for sure next year, 2022. I want to be ready. I have to admit, I have not been part of organizing or volunteer in past women's marches here, but I have participated in the marching and in attending within an activist booth called Quasi. But I do bow and tip my hat to these organizers of this march, having given us all the opportunity to rise up and speak our truths. Here in Bakersfield, I have experienced the collective love and the sheer power of coming together in order to support one another, lifting each other up, and just give me a minute, shit. Okay, sorry. Here, I have experienced the collective love and the sheer power of coming together in order to support one another, lifting each other up and to allow for our voices to be heard. We have something only unique to us here in Bakersfield, believe me. During this time of COVID, I miss not being able to meet in person with all of you, notwithstanding the pure devastation that this virus has brought upon many of us, our loved ones, and our nation. I'll be honest, it has been very, very hard for me not to feel the physical connection of all of my friends and family. And during this time on lockdown, I have taken to listening to countless podcasts. One in particular stood out for me. It was all about the playbook of Stacey Abrams. How was she able to register hundreds and hundreds and thousands of new and disenfranchised voters throughout Georgia, one person at a time? In short, she said the only way to win and change hearts and minds is all about establishing relationships, truly listening and accepting one another where we are. For years, she knocked on many, many doors. Yes, this does sound familiar, doesn't it? It is the same playbook as Dolores Huerta. For years, Dolores has always encouraged house meetings, relationships. She's always encouraged house meetings, relationships, buildings, and grassroots organizing. This is nothing new here in Bakersfield. Thank you, Stacey. Thank you, Dolores. Therefore, I am proposing that we, as a collective group, come together before next year's Women's March of 2022 to prepare for the next best Bakersfield Women's March ever. I envision that since we are seeing a little light at the end of this COVID tunnel, that we start meeting via Zoom for connection, to listen to one another, perhaps happy hours, just to plan and strategize in ways that we may help our Women's March organizers, Crimmy and Kimberly, all the rest. Perhaps we can engage in simple tasks of making signs and posters with the names of all those 147 Congress people who attempted a coup to overthrow our democracy. And for sure, we always need tech help as well as social media and marketing assistance. There is so much to do. We have to start somewhere. So I want that we never forget our collective power. Perhaps in making these signs and posters and in coming together, we may forever fortify our democracy, much less strengthen our collective heart connections for one another. Yes, we can practice and master that page out of Dolores's and Stacey Abrams' playbook. And that is one person at a time. So let's come together to make changes. We got to start somewhere. What do you guys think? You interested? If so, send an email to womensmarchkern@gmail.com, letting us know you want to volunteer or get involved to be part of the best Women's March ever. Thank you very much for everything and for hearing me out. And as Audrey says, she say puede.
Thank you, Miss Linda. Absolutely beautiful and well said. Takes one person at a time. That's how we climb up that hill. Thank you. Thank you so much for gracing us and ending our stage. We are not just yet. We're wrapping up, you guys. We're wrapping up. I need to give us a couple of shout outs. We had a question and answer box, but I'm just going to only mention some of the positive messages because that was all there was some positive messages from our wonderful performers, poets, and presenters. We had Danae doing her thing, Olivia and Nara, Reverend Nancy opened us up an invocation. Raji told y'all, listen, we are here and we are not here to play. Verda, we had Amber with her soulful sounds. We had Anise and Audrey. We are powerful. We are women. We had Sochi, who just sang us the national Star Spangled Banner so beautifully. And Candace, who gave us that energy of meditation that we often forget to take care of oneself. So many beautiful presenters and speakers today. I'm so excited. Before I turn it over to Kimberly and Julie, I'm going to shout out some of these messages because I had such a great time as your host today. This is my second year hosting the Women's March. Yes, I'm excited because this year I can be cute, y'all, because usually it's cold out there and I got to put on a sweatshirt, but today, nay, I got the pearls for you, girl. So let's go ahead and give a couple of shout outs here. Let's see. Okay, I know I saw several, there's so many messages here. So, a lot of them were saying, can we get Sochi for the national anthem for the inaugural and for the next one? So let me pull out some much love. They said, yes, Kelsey, we love you. We love you. Elaine McNeary said, I'm loving it all. Lori Hughley said, this is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. Reagan said, everyone has done a fantastic job. Thanks to all the presenters for putting themselves out there. Donnell Crow said, thank you, Reverend Nancy Bacon, as you were the first speaker. I was thrilled to see her. So many different, just positive, inspiring messages. Marjorie Bell said, great job, Verda. Good looking out. Good looking out. Beautifully said, Audrey. That came from Shelby McLean. Reagan said, we are powerful. We are women. A lot of it just says, go, 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 moving forward. Olivia Garrison is proof that our LGBTQIA+ community is in good hands going forward. That came from Whitney. Hey, Whitney, what's up, Whitney? All right. Oh, Reagan said, T. Johnson, you are Zoom cute. Bloop, that part. Thank you. So I could go on and on with these messages. One said, preach, Raji. Preach, Raji. This is good. Love, Raji. Beautiful, Crimson. So I can go on and on and on, but I won't. Hopefully we can post a lot of this on the Facebook page. I enjoyed being your host. I loved it. Yes, I've got shorts on, but honey, up top, I got it today. I got it today. Today has been wonderful, inspiring, uplifting, powerful. Resist. That's what Raji was saying, resist. And Professor Ivy brought some dope knowledge to us. So in saying farewell, we have Kimberly Kirschman and Julia Gibson. Julia is a founding member of the Women's March Kern County, educator of 28 years, community activist. And Kimberly is also a founding member of the Women's March of Kern County, a bleeding heart educator and a community activist. I want to thank you, ladies, your team, for just having me here. I love all of you guys, every speaker, everyone. Thank you. And I'm turning it over to you to knock it out the park. Mwah.
Thank you so much, T. Julie, why don't you start up here as we close out this wonderful event?
I am so happy to be here. Thank you everyone for honoring us with your time today. These past 5 Women March events, whether you were in Utah, Los Angeles, Washington, DC, the first year, it doesn't matter. Your heart was in it. And also for your other community activism that you have pursued throughout these years. I'm so honored for being a part of this active member. For me, it's a fraternity of women that I can always turn to and rely on. So thank you for being there for me. I believe this year's theme of empathy, courage, and hope offers our Women's March Kern County activists a safe, shame-free environment for women to become whole, fit, and happy once again. And we have been abused, wounded, and more recently quarantined this last year, and we needed this time. We need this time together for reconciliation. We need this time as we move forward to reconcile with our community and our country. And I encourage you to offer one another new friendships, to find time in this new year to heal and freely reach out to each other, just as Linda had suggested, to create a more positivity and more of a sense of community with one another. And I hope you will continually stand up for what you believe. I like to encourage you to be the empathetic voice, to take action, call out inequities, be vocal with your activism, and remember, we are here to support you. One voice alone can be ignored. Thousands of empathetic voices together is a roar, a force that can't be reckoned with. So stay safe in your homes, wear a mask when you're going out, and stay blessed, and thank you for your support.
Thank you, Julie. Being part of the organizing group of Women's March Kern County over these last few years has been an honor and a privilege and an intense pleasure. The hope that began on those buses that were going to the Women's March in LA in 2017 really started a movement here in our community. And it's so profound to see how many women in this square of voices today were actually on those first few buses. This voice of hope is just rippling through our community so that we know that as women, we are not alone. When we once wondered if we were the only ones who were feeling the same values that we were thinking the only things that we were thinking. But when we saw thousands of people gathering in Mill Creek Park, we knew we were not alone. So I'm honored that you were here today, that you've given us the time to just lift our voices with unity, with courage, with empathy, and with hope. One of our speakers got really sick yesterday and wasn't able to join us, and I'm going to read the poem that she wrote for this occasion, and then we will wrap up Women's March Kern County 2021. I Am an American Woman by Chalua Goolsbee. I am an American woman. Don't you see my pain? Pushed out, shut down, but still no animosity pumps through these veins. I am an American woman. Do you think 1920 was the great, real great brouhaha? Just take a look back into history and ask Purvis, Carey, and Harper when it really all started. I am an American woman, strong beyond measure. Look down deep within the soul, so many untapped treasures. I am an American woman. No burqa, hijab, or gele should keep me from it. Now, with 25 women elected in the Senate, 104 in the House, and 1 US VP, straight strutting. Now I'm talking about some real powerhouses, united as one, and believe you me, we have only just begun. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Tallulah, for the poem. Blessings, love, hope, unity, courage, and empathy to you all.
I have one more thing. Our Zoom extraordinaire, who has been a wonderful friend to me in meeting her, she helped me with my One Book, One Bakersfield project, which is linked on our Women's March Zoom channel. It is her 49th birthday today, and she is wonderful.
Happy birthday, Rebecca.
We'd like to congratulate Rebecca Wortley. Will you please turn on your camera? And we would love to sing to you. Happy birthday
to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rebecca. Happy birthday
to you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. If all the speakers will turn your cameras on so we can do one group screenshot before we
turn that music on, Miss DJ. Hey. Hey.
Yeah, there it is.